Yesterday, I met up with my friends John and Deanna Peterson on board their Nordic tug Stuga. Now, if you've seen one of my previous Great Loop videos, you may have seen this short clip.
Let's see what's happening. Oh, it's the Coast Guard.
They're being rescued by the Coast Guard, and I had to find out what the heck happened here. So I sat down with them, and they told me the whole crazy, hair-raising story, and really, it's amazing they survived. So if you're a looper or thinking about doing the Great Loop, I think you're going to want to hear this story. So what happened there?
Yes, what happened?
Well, we wanted to go to Ephraim.
And I got up, like a sailor always does, and I looked at an app called Windy. Windy is kind of the gold standard for a lot of sailors to look at wind, direction, and velocity. And it was 10 to 15 out of the west, and my sailor brain said, oh, this will be perfect. 10 to 15 out of the west, a nice beam reach all the way up to Ephraim. We got out in big seas.
So as we turn from the west, the boat is going like this. Boom,
Sure.
boom.
Before that, it was going up and down. Waves were coming over the bow, and things were crashing out of the spice cabinet. And Deanna looks at me and she goes, is this normal? And I said, I don't know. Never been in a power boat like this before.
And wasn't too much longer after making that turn, we heard a noise.
And it sounded like kind of a loud screeching, transmission slipping sort of a noise. We turned back towards Quarry Park, and it's a small 18, 19-foot fishing boat kind of launch place. And I said, I don't know if we could go in there. And Deanna says, we're going in. And by this point, the wind is probably 17 to 18, and the waves were 3 to 5 feet, I'd say.
Wow.
So anyway, we're directly upwind of the harbor in drive. In other words, we're just in gear. We're not throttled up. So I remember reading somewhere when a transmission seizes, the plates gall and they seize together, and you can't get out of gear. So I figured, probably should check to see if the boat will come out of gear before we go into a place we've never been into before that's kind of small and compact. So I took it out of gear, and the boat wouldn't go back into gear or reverse or either direction. So now we're like a leaf in the wind, beam onto the seas, directly upwind of a very nasty riprap breakwall. So I turned to Deanna, I said, we're in serious trouble. Send out a Pon Pon call. So she got on the radio, sent out a Pon Pon call. By the way, we were in 51 feet of water. So to anchor properly in 51 feet of water, you need about 350 feet of chain, which we didn't have. Most people don't. So I wasn't sure if the anchor would bite or not, but we had this brand new Rockna anchor with 150 feet of chain, and I let out 110 and was hoping for the best while we were rapidly approaching breakwall, which, you know, perspective from us to the shore over there.
Yeah, it was like right there.
Wow.
Too close. You know, you're going like this, and you're thinking, oh,
that
could pop in
hindsight, rather than turn around, we should have gone directly south and gotten ourselves more in front of the mouth of Sturgeon Bay, where if we had a problem, it's shallow, we can anchor. So I called the Coast Guard back. I said, we're holding our position currently. No guarantees that we will very long. Please send someone now. And they said, stand by, Captain.
Yeah.
A few minutes later, they came back and said, okay, we'll send someone.
Yeah.
And what, 45 minutes later, the largest vessel that they have over here, I believe, it's a 45-foot metal, aluminum, came at flying speed and arrived. And we were certainly very, very thankful and grateful that they came. Well, so there's more to this. So they're holding position, they're talking to us on the radio, and they said, we're gonna throw over a heaving line. Well, a heaving line is a smaller line, and it has about a softball size hard rubber ball on the end. So the first heave landed just shy of my outstretched hands and landed at my feet. And I was not about to let that thing not get retrieved. So I hold on to the side rail, lean over, and start grabbing it with my foot.
Now, first of all, the line was in the water. They're all yelling.
They're all yelling line in the water because they don't want their line getting in the prop. And they're like, Captain, get back on your vessel. You know, they're screaming, get back on your vessel. So the second shot, a different guy heaves, and it goes 30 feet in front of us into the water, and there's no chance of retrieving it. And so I'm stretching out, a different guy, I'm holding on to the rail, and they heave it, and it's coming at me, and I pluck it out of the air barehanded like a fan at Wrigley would have plucked a baseball that goes over the fence. I pluck it out of there, and everybody's cheering. So finally, I pull in their towing harness, which is a line
You couldn't fit in
an
there.
inch and a half large. It's
Right.
huge.
You couldn't fit.
But long story short, we made our own towing bridle that we attached their towing bridle to. And so they said, if we break away, we'll give you new instructions. And I'm thinking, there is no way I'm allowing this to
The
break away.
breakaway.
They're going to need a big knife to cut my harness off. So I gave them the thumbs up, and they started towing us forward. Of course, I got to get an anchor chain up with 110 feet of road. And we're bouncing up and down. They're trying to hold position. But, you know, every other wave, the breaker is popping because we're overloading the windlass. And I'm thinking, if the windlass fails, there's no way we're going to be able to bare hand. It probably weighs 300-400 pounds.
Right.
So, you know, chug, 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 pop. Deanna reset the breaker. Chug, 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 pop.
Why did it keep popping?
Because it was being overloaded by the seas and the bouncing from side to side.
Yeah, they're pulling you forward so you can be directly under the line, and sometimes if you're
A
not,
wave would
it can
come
really...
and down. So anyway, after what seemed like forever, we got the anchor up and we were under tow. And I knew at that point we were going to be okay. We were going to be safe.
So that's what happened. They're lucky it didn't end right then and there, but I'm happy to say just 2 days ago, they officially started the Great Loop. So I'll be checking in on them from time to time as they do their loop. But if you see that red tugboat Stuga out there, stop by and say hello to him. In the meantime, I'll be bringing you more RV adventures. So safe travels to you, and I hope to see you out there on the road.